Hello there, what's going on everybody? Today we're going to be talking about X-Wing Wave 5. I did a little video on this earlier at Star Wars Celebration right after it was released, and I did some close-up footage of the new models, but as there was a lot of stuff going on there and I was very busy, I really didn't get to talk about the actual release article and really talk to you and give you my thoughts on Wave 5, so we're going to talk about that today. There's a whole lot. There's an overabundance of news right now, so I apologize getting to a few things late, but it is what it is, and we're going to try and go forward from here. Also, I want to remind you guys that there is a new round of the giveaway going on right now where you can enter to win a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start talking about Wave 5. I also am going to bring you some close-up screenshots of photos that I did capture from the case of the Wave 5 miniatures at Star Wars Celebration. So not only are we going to be talking about the article, but we'll also looking at some photos because I think there are some interesting things with some of these ships, the repaints and all that stuff. So, all right, so first off, big two new things. We've got the Y-Wing and the Geonosian fighter. Very, very cool. Also, we got some capital ship imagery in the back there. Pretty cool, like from that bombing run of the Y-Wings on the Malevolence. Always very, very cool. And as you know, I'm also a big Armada fan, so anytime I see capital ships in the artwork, it always makes me happy. I do want to also apologize if my voice is a little crackly. I did spend 5 days teaching constantly, so I'm still recovering my voice from Star Wars Celebration. But, yeah, so here's Wave 5, guys. We've got the Y-Wing, the Geonosian Nantex fighter, and then a lot of reprints. We've got a new Ghost, a new Dengar in the Jumpmaster. We've got the Inquisitors Tie, and then we've got the M3A Interceptor, or SICK, with a new paint job there. As far as that's the only one that has a new paint job. A lot of the other stuff looks mostly the same, but when we look closer, when we get to the end of the video, I'll be showing off some photographs. You'll see that there's some changes to the Jumpmaster and possibly the Ghost. Now, they did talk about the Ghost a little bit, but I'll talk about that more when I get to the Ghost. So first thing I want to talk about is the Geonosian, the Nantex. Now, the Nantex is pretty cool because first thing you're going to notice is that this has got a bullseye-only primary firing arc. So this is like the first ship we've seen with a bullseye primary firing arc. Very, very cool. It also happens to have a turret built in also as a primary weapon. It has a primary turret and a primary bullseye, but does not have a primary, this way, fixed front, arc. It doesn't have a primary fixed front arc, so that bullseye arc is going to be different. So things like outmaneuver and stuff like that, aren't really going to work well in this case. That being said, we get a look at the spread here, and we can see a whole lot of interesting things from this. So one of the things that we can see some of the pilots. It looks like Sun Fak and Berver, Kret, and Shurtek. I don't even know who a lot of these people are because I don't really. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really up to speed on all the Geonosians, and I don't know if they just made these names up or if they're whatever. But looking at our initiatives, we've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and even a 6 initiative, which is pretty cool. We've got it looks like it comes with Juke and Ensnare and like a new EPT that lets you fire. So we're going to talk about that because that one's shown a little bit more in the next preview. But I want to talk about the ship card itself. So all we can do here is focus and evade. Now, so that means we don't get target lock, which isn't, it's not the first time we've ever seen a ship that doesn't have target lock, but that's kind of uncommon. It doesn't have any reposition abilities. So even your initiative 6, while that's cool, you're not going to have, a booster barrel roll or anything like that. So you're going to have a harder time, taking great advantage of that. And also with a ship that only has, that bullseye, not having a booster barrel roll is actually going to make this ship a very interesting ship to fly. I think this is going to be one of those ships that is, big risk, big payoff. I have a feeling they will be very cheap, and that's saying something for a ship that has 2 weapons, including a 3-die primary attack and a 2-die turret. I think it's going to be, really cheap because it's only got 4 hull and no shields. It does have 3 agility. And so I imagine you'll be focusing quite a bit. I don't really anticipate taking evade all that often with 3 agility, but focus will almost certainly be the preferred. When you get only 1 action, I think it would be focus. So now they do have a built-in ability called Pinpoint Tractor Array. This is that Geonosian special tech. All right. You cannot rotate your turret to your rear arc, which is interesting. So you they're mainly dealing with firing forward, or at least mostly forward. Although if you do have it to the side, you can still shoot a little bit behind you. So you can't rotate your turret to your rear arc. After you execute a maneuver, you may gain a tractor token to perform a rotate action. So you can gain a tractor token. That's going to actually factor in to some of the other stuff that's going on, like one of these talents that we're going to look at. And you know, and of course you can get. It does look like they're getting a targeting computer, so you can grant them the target lock action, but you'll have to put that on as like a mod or something like that. Now for their dial looks like it's pretty decent. They're going to be a fast ship. It seems like they're going to be like A-wing interceptor style of flying. They're very fast. They don't have the one straight, but they do have one hard turns and one banks. They've got all the twos. They've got a decent number of blue maneuvers either, so clearing stress won't be a problem for these guys. 4 and 5 straight, 5K turn, and 2 S loops. So, you know, it should be a fun ship to fly. I think this is a ship that you're going to be relying on that dial a lot more. So, you know, that's going to be pretty interesting. So let's go ahead and look at our ensnare. And this is one of the talents that we're going to get at the end of the activation phase. If you are tractored, you may choose one ship in your turret arc at range 0 to 1, transfer a tractor token to it. So again, you can tractor yourself, and of course that's kind of how you barrel roll, right? I mean, like if you're going to tractor yourself, that's kind of your repositional ability. So and then repositioning somebody else by transferring a tractor token to it. That's just going to be that's just wild, like the way that whole play structure. Like this seems like not a good ship for a beginner because you've got so many advanced mechanics at work here doing that self-tractor with the pinpoint tractoring and then ensnare. Like I think it has the potential to be really fun, but it's like more advanced mechanics. So I'm glad this is going to be a couple waves in. So like people who are diving in to this, to the Clone Wars and getting into X-Wing for the first time, this won't be like the first ship they buy. So, but it seems pretty cool. I'm anxious to see a more detailed close-up. We can't really read all of the text on the like the other pilots, but it does look like that Initiative 6 pilot gets an extra attack die if they're attacking somebody who's tractored. So if you can line up the shot, you can have a 4-die bullseye or potentially 5-die bullseye at range 1 if you can manage it. Potentially really strong. So we'll have to see what they cost, though. And that's one of the things that's like, I really wish we knew what their costs were going to be. All right, next, the Y-Wing. The Y-Wing looks cool. The Y-Wing looks really cool, and I think we all kind of thought this was coming. This was definitely at the top of what I was predicting because the Y-Wing was featured on the art, and that is always a good thing. So now this is a different. This is the BTLB, so it's slightly. It's technically different than the Rebel Y-Wing. Of course, it should be, and we kind of all expected it would have some differences, but be mostly the same. I will say there's some differences that I didn't expect. Now we are getting Anakin Skywalker in a Y-Wing, so we're already getting multiple versions of Anakin. That's cool. It's kind of what I think a lot of us expected. So I thought we were going to get certain pilots in multiple because Anakin flies almost everything. And I think this won't be the last version of Anakin. I think whenever they do like the ETA 2, I think we'll get a version of Anakin in that as well. So I think we'll get multiple Anakins over the course. Maybe even a G9 rigger. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe, I think I'd probably be more likely to see Ahsoka or both. But yeah, so basically we're going to see a lot of duplicate pilots. So, and that's a good thing, make it more thematic. Make you have to make a hard choice. Do I want Anakin in a Y-Wing or do I want Anakin in a Delta 7? How do I want Anakin? So that's kind of fun. Now, in our spread, we've got some really interesting stuff to talk about here. So, Anakin, we can kind of see his pilot abilities the same. Looks like we're going to get broadside, matchstick, and oddball as pilots. They are going to have the plated hull ability, but I want to talk about some of their upgrades first, because then we can look at the ship card in the next one. I got a close-up. Their dial is a little different here. They have a lot less blue. They've only got a 1 straight and 2 straight blue, so they have a worse dial than the Y-Wing, than the Rebels Y-Wing. Which I imagine it has to do with their plated hull ability. I mean, like when we look at the ship card, I think that's going to explain some of the differences. There's like they're better and worse at the same time. I do think they're similar enough that they'll be closely priced. They'll be priced in the same ballpark as the original. But we get this EPT here in the middle called Snapshot. Again, it looks very reminiscent to Snapshot in X-Wing 1.0, but it's a few differences. For example, it looks like you can only fire it at range 2. And it says, after an enemy ship executes a maneuver, you may perform this attack against it as a bonus attack. Your dice cannot be modified. So, your dice cannot. So if you've got something that, modifies your opponent's dice, you can, like if you're a ship that says, oh, your opponents can have to roll one less die when defending against you or something like that. So this is something that you can potentially counter on ships that that limit their opponent's dice. And that was always the trick I would try to do with, in 1.0. So it'll be real fun to try to put Snapshot on lots of other pilots. I do expect we'll see Snapshot all over the place. I think we'll see it available to other factions as well, because all of a sudden now we're seeing, hey, Snapshot's available in the Separatist factions, but I want it for my Rebels. So I'm sure we will eventually see all of these new cards that are not faction restrictive. We'll see them in other places. And then we've got another. It looks like a new type of missile. We've got a new instinctive reflexes. It looks like, and it looks like it's going to be very, very similar to supernatural reflexes, but you don't also get to perform an action. So it's not like a bonus action. It's so it'll probably be great, but maybe a little cheaper alternative to supernatural reflexes. That's a little bit less good. It looks like we're getting a C-3PO crew and Ahsoka Tano as a gunner, I'm guessing. And it looks like we're getting Chopper. It looks like Chopper. I don't think that's Chopper, though, because Chopper, it's a 10p. Something 10p. So that looks like Chopper to me, but I don't really understand why Chopper would fit into, the Republic. So it's probably not Chopper, but who knows? Maybe it's Chopper. And we get into some new tokens as well. Not a huge fan of getting a whole lot of new tokens personally, just because, boy, there's already so many new tokens. There's so many tokens that we have to track, especially in the new factions between your Discord missiles and your probe droids, and then all the different new mine and bomb types, and more tokens just kind of weigh me down because I have so much stuff to keep track of. And then when I do finally want to use that, I've got to dig through this massive bag of tokens and where's the plutonium mine? I can't find the plutonium mine or whatever. I don't know. But looking at the ship card itself, the ship card itself they all have plated hull. So this one is one way that makes them different. While you defend, if you are not critically damaged, you can change a crit to a hit. So they're less likely to be critically hit because they do have that extra armor. And I think that's one thing that explains why they have less blue maneuvers, because it's a heavier ship. It's a heavier ship. It's harder to move. But the funny thing to me is that, okay, it's a heavier ship, but it has less hull. Less hull. It's we've only got 5 hull, but we have 3 shields. So you get the same total hit points. And I suppose the shields makes you further resistant to critical damage. And so I think they wanted to make them about the same. I just expected maybe 1 hull greater overall than the Rebel version, but I'm okay this way. I just expected it would have been a slightly different, configuration. But for gameplay reasons, I think maybe sometimes you need gameplay to trump, the fluff and then the lore. So yeah, I guess I think this is a decent way to do it. It's still the same number of hits total, but their claim to fame is they're extra crit resistant. For 1 with the extra shield, and for 2 with the plated hull keyword. So you can block, realistically, I'd say you probably block 2 crits this way. The first time they roll a crit, it's probably all going to shields. And then the second time, once your shields get, depleted, you won't have been critically damaged yet, so you can change that crit to a hit. And so that first, damage you take won't be face up. Instead, it'll be face down. So, unless, of course, you're just unlucky and you get a 5-die attack right away and they're all crits, and then you're like, okay, well, but, that's bad for anybody. They deserve it if they manage that. All right. So we do also getting the Inquisitors Tie. Big thing about this one, because, there's really nothing new about these, about the reprints. There's not much new. There's a few things new, but this one I think is the most underwhelming just because it seems like it's just a straight-up repackaging reprint. Nothing new. And I was thinking maybe they would have redesigned the wings or the model to make the wings fold in, only because they did that with the Sith Infiltrator. Darth Maul's scimitar has the wings that look almost identical to this, and they fold in. I thought it would have been very easy for them to do, and while it has no real gameplay function, They did it already for that one, so I thought they might do it for this one, but it doesn't look like there's any hinge on there. And I looked at the one in the case also. It looks exactly like the one we've already got. So unless they have some kind of secret, production surprises for us that differ from what they're showing us here, it does not look like we're going to get folding wings. We're getting a new Jumpmaster. This one is a new sculpt. We've got some extra goodies, new, slight different paint jobs. And while it's mostly the same, we're getting different paint applications on parts of the interior, and like that big quad, turbo laser gun looks pretty cool. It's like a new, freshly sculpted quad turbo laser on there, which looks cool. And then the M3A has a total new paint job. This one looks very slick, and I'm very happy because I love the M3A, and this will be like I think our third different version of it. So very cool for that. And I will be getting all of these, unboxing all of them, and doing comparisons to the 1.0 counterparts so we can take a look. Even something like the Inquisitors Tie, we'll be able to do like a comparison and see, like, is this actually different or is it the same? All right, so which brings me to the Ghost. The Ghost is the most mysterious about this whole thing, and had I been there, I might have been able to ask a question, because the Ghost is coming with the Sheathipede. And they did confirm that the Sheathipede will dock in the back, physically dock, which is awesome. That's something we all wanted, but I'm curious. We got to talk about the attack shuttle, because the attack shuttle is not here. So does that mean, A, the attack shuttle is going to become illegal in 2.0 because there's already in the conversion kit? So I doubt that. Does that mean that they're going to reprint an attack shuttle expansion all by itself? That's curious, because that wasn't something you could buy in 1.0. You had to buy the Ghost to get the attack shuttle. So like, why not? Why are they doing it this way? It's just so bizarre. So and if the Sheathipede docks, does the attack shuttle dock? And also they did say that they're redoing the base to make it better support the ship itself. A lot of people had problems with the Ghost base. I get that. But the biggest problem was that the turret, you couldn't put a turret on there, so you just had to set the turret pointer cardboard insert wherever you wanted it. And so that is generally going to be the big... If you'll notice, there's no turret in this image here, so we'll have to see what how the base actually works. Again, these are usually just renders. We're looking at like high-quality 3D renders. This is probably not an actual production copy here. And so it also begs the question if in the photos I got, if that's maybe an early mock-up or if that's a production copy or what. So let's go ahead and look at the photos. So, and this is what adds to the confusion. So those of you who have watched my video already, and I will put a link to that at the end of the video, and the little pop-ups and stuff, so make sure you watch to the end. This Phantom the Phantom 1 is in there. The attack shuttle is in there. So I'm like, wait a second. If it's supposed to dock with the Sheathipede, how come there's an attack shuttle in there? And this is definitely not like everybody in the comments said, oh, that's a Ghost 1. That's a Ghost 1. That's the old base. I'm like, well, maybe it is the old base. Like, I couldn't get in there and actually like see if there was like a millimeter underneath, so extra room for the cardboard, but it didn't look like it. It certainly looks like the old base. But they might not have the new base engineered and ready to display yet. Doesn't mean that this isn't the new ship. Because I want to zoom in a little bit. This is something different. This is something a little weird. And so we have there's a lot of discussion to be had about this part right here. Because this attack shuttle is in there, and it's clear that it can come out. I mean, you can look at that, you can see where it's been cut. But I almost wonder if this wasn't like a custom job, like if this isn't actually the way the final model is going to look, because it's a little bit rough, And granted, for like a production copy or a prototype, it may be something like this. If this is like the prototype, this seems to indicate that both shuttles will be able to dock in there, because now this isn't. Look, if you've seen Rebels, the attack shuttle has wings that are have 3 or 4 hinges that all fold up to go on top. And then boom, 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 and then all fold up. Now, let's be real. Engineering that would be difficult. I have no doubt that engineering something like that would be difficult. Might be a bridge too far. Granted, FFG's miniature sculpting has really improved. and they've done amazing things. The new B-Wing looks awesome. A lot of this new stuff looks awesome. The X-Wing, S-foils, all of that stuff. Really cool. But like a 2 or 3 hinged wing might be a bridge too far. So what I think the alternative would be to have this, which is just the collapsed version, and then the wings open version as like 2 minis in the same pack. So maybe, my guess is that you will see an attack shuttle, and it will come with the extra bit to show that it's docked, like so that you can have the docked version, which is just that top part that rests on there. Like basically, they're engineering the bay to fit the sheathipede, but they're also going to give you a compatible bit in the attack shuttle. That's my guess. We'll see if I'm right. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you think that this was just like a 1.0 Ghost that some people cut up to try to play with to see if they could fit the sheathipede in there, and then they just had to put something else out? I have a feeling this is a lot more representative of the 2.0 because they have other of these, Wave 5 ships. So it's like they wouldn't have all the Wave 5 ships except the Ghost. So this whole thing is very, very interesting. And again, if you wouldn't mind, share this video with your friends, so they can get a close-up look at it as well. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it everywhere you're talking about X-Wing, because I'm sure there are some of you that are much smarter than me that can figure out exactly what this means. If it's actually a hack job, if it's a prototype, if this is how the production model will work. Maybe this isn't the final Phantom 1. Maybe what's actually the hack job is the Phantom 1 not fitting in there perfectly, whereas the final, maybe like Wave 6 or 7, you'll see a Phantom 1 that actually fits in there better. Maybe we'll see one that transforms. I think it's exciting to me. I don't think they'll just leave the Phantom 1 out in the cold. I'm actually really going to be surprised that they don't put the Phantom 1 with the Ghost. But hey, it is what it is. And I like the mystery behind it all. It's really exciting to me. All right, so we can take a look at some of the other stuff. Here's the Jumpmaster. I took some pictures from behind because from the front it's mostly the same, but you can kind of see that that they've done a few different things with it there. You've got the turret on the back. Here's the Y-wing, and then there's a front view of the Ghost. By the way, you can still see, like in the background, you can see the Inquisitors Tie and then the Ghost with their, it's still the same base. It looks like for the Ghost, but the Y-wing looks good. It looks pretty much like what you'd expect. And so this is what I'm saying. They had all those different versions. There's the Nantex. The Nantex looks really slick, and and I think with that type of ship that really wants to go fast and straight, I like the way that they designed it. So all in all, Wave 5 looks really cool. I think I'm kind of most excited about physically docking the Ghost. I love that, come play with these toys aspect of what they're doing with X-Wing now. They're making them feel so much cooler. So, and that's one thing I tell people is even if you stop playing this game someday, you can have fantastic toys to keep you company for the rest of your life. It's a solid investment because the production quality is just so very high. And that's all I've got to say. All right, guys, that's all I want to say. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Those thumbs ups really help me out. I appreciate the likes. Share this video with your friends. I'm trying to grow and hit 30,000 by the end of the year, and maybe we'll get there. I don't know. Maybe we'll go even higher. But you guys have been amazing. The support has been tremendous. Star Wars Celebration was great. I want to thank Fantasy Flight for allowing me to participate in the celebration with them and be able to interact with you guys and teach some of these amazing games. It's always a blessing, and maybe I'll be there next year as well. I'll be in California, so that's kind of cool. I don't know if that'll work out, but we'll see. We'll see. Well, who knows what the future holds? And I'm hoping to also see you guys at Gen Con. So that's a little bit farther out, but all right. I will talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and big thanks to my patrons as well. You guys have a great day.